starting now, and as usual we are starting. Okay, so screenshots coming from everyone, majority of us. Okay, and everyone here. Okay, so students are, we have to really make some rules now. Hey, try to come within half an hour if you're coming. So if somebody's not receiving emails here, you could just let me know. I always try to put that here. Let's go ahead, and you should be giving exams, certifications before going to the job market looking for jobs. You could pay $85 instead of $150 for your certification. It's just always a reminder that try to give the exams before you reach the market, and you will realize there that you are expected to give certifications, and it will be delayed if your job hunting starts after you've left the college. So if you need any help during this for the giving of certification, let me know, and I can provide you the material for all these or some of these. So these are the exam I would recommend that certifications you should give. Exchange Server, most of you have done Exchange Server. So which version of Exchange did you do? 2013 or those 2013? Yeah. So SharePoint we did together some of the classes, but still, if you want to give certification, it's let me know the material. I'll help you with the material. SQL Server we are going now, so all the material is there for certification. VMware, very, very sought after skill in the market. You must know VMware because majority of the jobs are have VMware, or they're asking for VMware skills. So and Cisco, of course, that's a must to know the networks. ITIL for management of IT department and inventories and the processes and procedures in the IT department. So ITIL is a must as well. And Citrix is just application virtualization. So although there are so many jobs in the market for that as well. So if anyone wants to do the certification for any of these, you should be, if you want to apply for a system administrator job, they need a Superman. But at least if you're doing these certifications or done with these certifications, you're good in the market. You'll get a decent job, 30, 40, 50 per hour. So if you need to, but you must have certifications, international certifications, so Microsoft certifications, VMware, Cisco, Citrix, ITIL, as many as you can, because that's how it works here. Maybe you'll learn it the hard way if you don't start now, but you will realize soon when you hit the job market that, oh, I was supposed to do certifications? Really? Okay. Anyway, some of the people do get the good job without certification, but they are very few, so don't count on that. And what's happening in the market, I'll keep repeating every class, that do the certifications as soon as possible, so you will have better chances of landing a decent job. Okay, so back to SQL Server, and so do let me know if there were any issues and problems doing previous labs, and we can start with our today's labs as well as new topics, theories. But before that, we could check our server status, and that's how we always check in the production environment as well. At the job, we always go for and checking the servers. We go remote desktop the servers, and then we check the services, event viewer, disk space. So I'll just quickly go there and do that. So SQL Server, I'm just trying to check by going to the run and services.msc, and then quickly checking the services for either I can just go for services.msc or I can go for tools and then services here. So that would tell me if all the services. So again, so I'll just click startup type, and then against automatic, all should be running in the running status. The startup type should, if it is automatic, the majority should be running, and we can know that which ones are critical. If they're not running, some of them, if they're not running while on automatic, it's okay, like software protection. So some of the services, when they're required to run, then they run, but some of the services must be running all the time. So we would just try to see which ones are, and especially in SQL. So there are 2 instances we installed last time. One was the default MS SQL Server. Second is the BES instance, or BlackBerry Enterprise Server. We're just pretending. So we have 2 instances and they are running fine. Analysis services for SQL Server and reporting services for BES Server. They're all running fine. Browser, SQL Server browser, that would let us go inside from Management Studio to any of the instances. It should be running fine. And SQL Server VSS Writer and all the other, okay, the crucial ones are running, we're good. So first checking the service, I'll just close that, and then I'll just quickly, even before running, checking the services, or just simultaneously open both, but Event Viewer really is our job saver. So Windows logs, application, I would just go for anything SQL or any warning or critical errors. There are some red errors coming here. So in a production environment, I would definitely want to search for those. Why this error is coming, and is it really telling me about some imminent danger or imminent shutdown of any of the services, critical services, or imminent disruption, or somebody logged in who was not authorized to do so. So these are the especially this free disk space, that comes handy, that information if you're going through those. There are some PowerShell scripts that we can put, and it would just give you per day how many error logs were created, how many warning logs were created, and how many information logs were created. And we can also trace from for all the servers that we are responsible for through the SQL scripts. Okay, and I'll just simply go for my disk space as well. So it's 77 GB free. That's it. That's how we always check, and there are actually long list of checks through PowerShell we do for all our servers and critical services. In our production environment, in the morning when we come and are having coffee, we just run one script and it starts checking all types of servers. Active Directory authentication is going on, ports are open, SharePoint, SQL Server, Exchange Server. You're responsible for whichever server. You are going to slowly evolve that script. That would start checking the free disk space for all those servers. Network connectivity, it will ping all the databases for the Exchange servers. It will ping and automatic ping, as well as services and Event Viewer. So it's a lot of reporting. You just need to keep an eye on your screen, really good eye on that. So when the reports are passing by, that's when you quickly have a good view of what all the critical services in perfect condition. Okay, so it seems like my server is okay. But I would just start, let's just start our SQL Server. So we last time created 2 instances. So I'm just going to go to the SQL Server Management Studio. Let's go to that. SQL Server Management Studio. Let's open that and check if it's really letting us go inside. So we have one MEM01 BES instance. This was one of instance, and the other instance was the default one. If I just choose the server, it will just start that. So BES instance, I'll just click connect. That's the second instance that we installed, but I loaded it first. Doesn't matter. And then I'll click and connect again. So first instance is, so I'm just gonna see, we had created 2 databases there as well. So I'm just gonna create, start the second instance as well. So database engine, connect, database engine. Okay, so I need to put it on. Connect database engine, and then again it comes to the connector server, which one you want, and I'll just go for SQL mem01 and click connect, and there's our second instance. So has everyone loaded both instances? Are you able to load both instances? Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. So were you able to download the SQL server? Oh, okay. So today, if you have any issues with your labs, then we can also. I will also come to your machines and check for your labs what's going on. So.
I'm having an issue with this version, but other than that, everything's fine.
Okay.
There's an error because you told me to enable quiet true,
No.
but it's giving me an error that
Oh,
it doesn't recognize.
for the configuration file
Yes, for
installation.
the
Okay.
configuration file, I don't know.
Oh, okay. And you got the
Yeah,
drive there?
scripts
Okay,
and everything.
cool. So, okay. So we're gonna try to cover our today's topics, and then we'll have some time where I'm gonna come to your machines, and we're gonna try to sort out some errors for you as well. So let's. So both instances are started. Let's go back to our slide and try to cover all the topics for today. So what we did last time was from zero touch installation for SQL Server, and with the help of configuration file .ini that we took from a server where we had previously installed a SQL Server 2012 Enterprise successfully. So then, and we also used the PowerShell script. Then we had the RAID 1 configured. So some of us had successfully done that in the class, and and we tested the RAID as well by removing the hard disk. So then we installed second instance, created databases for both instances, add, remove SQL Server features, how to test connectivity as well with the SQL cmd.exe command. So our environment, and so today we're talking about configuring and managing SQL Server instances, and I'm still going according to the chapters in that book that I mentioned in the start of this, or on the day 1. So according to that book, you can also refer to that book if you have purchased that, or let me know what, but we'll just try to purchase that. Okay, or there I'm recording, so I should not say that. Try to have that book, and what to consider for SQL Server deployment. So today we're going for instance level settings. That's the most important thing. We have deployed 2 instances already. We're going to touch lightly also. We were trying to do some SQL statements last time, and we were not able to do that. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to create a table just to have an idea. And some rows and columns as well, just to get it. Then we're going to get back to some instance level settings that we should be knowing, because for each application, so if you're a SQL Server admin and any of the other teams in your company ask you to create a database for them, you will be creating an instance for that team, for their application to connect to your database. So you'll be maintaining instances for many teams, many departments. If they have big applications that require SQL Server connection, so you'll be responsible for all the instances, how they're performing, memory-wise, processor-wise. So we're going to be talking about all that. Then database configuration and standardization. That has some Good points. Distributed transaction coordinator, configuring database mail. So if there are problem in the databases, there should be an email, email to either the users or the administrator. Then installing additional instances, we did that. Deploying software updates and patch management, configuring resource governor. What a name, nice name. So, and then we're going to be deploying SQL Server in Server Core, or at least we're going to try to know what to do when we are in Server Core, because that's also something that not only is an exam objective, but your boss would say in the environment that, hey, we have Server Core and we need SQL Server, so can you do that? For till now, we know that how to do it with the configuration file, but in Server Core, we could go and give some commands directly and expect it to work. Otherwise, we're going to try to troubleshoot that. So let's go ahead. So some SQL syntax, which are basics of SQL syntax. Some of the most important SQL commands are select. This command extracts data from a database. Updates database data in a database. So we can start with update and then we can put some data there. Deletes the data from a database. Inserts new data into a database. Create database, creates a new database, of course. Alter, modifies the database, and you'll be seeing some of the commands that start with this. Actually, majority of the commands would be using these statements. So alter database, modify the database, create table. So just like create database, create table would create a table. So we're gonna use that as well. Alter table can alter that. Drop table, we already use that. So if we drop the database, we can drop the table as well, which means it deletes it. And then create index, creates a index or search for that database. Search files for the database. So drop index deletes an index, right? So these will be the most common commands that we will be using. So there's just that overview of those. And SQL is not case sensitive, so select is the same as capital select in caps. Okay, so that's those commands that we were not able to do. Then I just went ahead. So before doing that, we can just try to configure some of the options for our statement area where we're going to be putting the commands there. So for the new query, whenever we are putting a query there, so this is an option there in tools and options. We can just put the line numbers there in the text editor. So this is the text editor that opens for us when we are putting any of the commands. So I'm just gonna quickly put that there. So if we go back to our SQL Server and we open this new query here, so first of all I would want to check, okay, which database is open right now, and or for which database we are doing this. So if I want to go for we click BAS, so it should be we should be then working for the master database of BAS, and we can double click that. So we can create we still have to create a new database there for it. Then we can try to work on that. But what I wanted to quickly put there was numbers. So we could trace which line had a problem, which line had an issue. So tools, options, and okay, that. So let me just put that again. So it's here, tools and options, then text editor, and then transact SQL, So I'm just gonna put here line numbers. Everyone got that? Yep. So this is an options, and then text editor, and then line numbers. So we can go for plain text as well as transact SQL. So anywhere you want, this line number. So when you press OK, it should then give us a much better organized way of putting the statements there with lines. So let's go back and quickly try to put that there. Some statements. So this is what we did try before. So anyone was successful last time for this? The only thing we missed was, which I was actually saying as well, but I didn't want to put a lot of time there, that we did not create, I guess that was a problem, that we did not create the MyDBS folder there. The error never would say that. Errors are always cryptic, so we would not know. So it was not saying that, but I tried later and it was like, why didn't it work there? But I didn't try to put some a little more time, just for troubleshooting there. Although I was asking, hey, just create that folder and try that again. But so okay, let's try that again, guys. So I'm just gonna quickly put that there. So I'm just gonna start doing that. So create database. There's that. We already have a database for Baz, so we're just going to go for food. But the thing is that let's do it a bit quick, because last time we were doing that. So I'm just going to start that, create database. And then on. So I'm just going to go back and forth now. So that's create database. Food, well, if you did not do breakfast, so on parentheses so now I'll just put the name just like last time, size, but we need to make it work, because we're going to be using later when we go ahead and start doing majority of the things from the the text editor. We're gonna have to be using that. So there's that size. So while this is there, so I'm just gonna go back and forth a little just to check. So name, file name, size, max size, name, file name, size, max size. Okay, I'll go back and check a little more. So max size, unlimited, file growth, okay. File growth. So let's just put it there. So the name was this is food data 1. Name is, we're just putting that there, the name, and then the name of the file, the path there, file name equals /mydbs, right? If the path is showing that, let's just create that folder first. So mydbs for the .mdf file, which is the master database, and then the .ldf, which is the log set of log files that we're going to create. So I'm just going to put that mydbs. I'll create that folder in C drive first. So whatever I've put there, I'll just keep it there and come back. I'm just going to the file explorer first, and we're just trying to create that database again, just to try some SQL statements. So, but for that, in C:root my DBS as a folder I'm creating. Once this is created, if I go back now, or whatever name you give, just make sure that name is there inside that path. So my DBS is there in the path. I'll just put that there. So first, the name of the database, food data, and then we have to put commas, not just one comma. File name, and then we're going to be putting this path and comma again. So food data 1, and then file name is this food data 1.mdf. So here name food data 1 comma, and then the file. So first inverted, the single ones, not the double ones, the single ones. C:\/ my DBS / food data 1.mdf. Close and comma. Okay. So size could be shown in kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, and if you go terabyte. So just let's put that, make sure that we are, so 10 megabyte we can just put there, comma, and then 2 hyphens, KB, MB, GB, TB, right? So I'm just trying to put it once correct and try to show that it works. Then it's KB, MB, GB, TB, so there's no comma after TB. Then unlimited, maximum size, unlimited, file growth is this. So there's no comma after the size we have defined. So maximum size, we are not putting any limitation to the size. Unlimited, and it will grow by 1 GB file growth, and then parenthesis is there, right? So now we need to have the same for the log file as well. So I'm just going to put here log on, and then copy the whole thing from here, Control C, Control V. So now I need to create the log files for the same database, the mdf.mdf. So the log files, yeah. My DBS here? Oh, Ford. Okay, sorry. Yeah, right. So it's a speller here. Well, yeah, whatever. Oh, exactly. This would definitely be food data there, but here it's the, so it would not create that. So thanks for catching that. And I think, yeah, it's here as well. Thank you. So here I'm just gonna do a slight change. So above was the data. All the data would be there in the master database file. This is for the log. So food log one. First change I'm putting in name. Second change I am, of course, then it has to be consistent. Log 1 here, and the file is L. So this is for the log database, log files database. It also goes unlimited, and we can just mention here, or we can just check here that it also works this way as well. If you put 1024 MB and you've put here 1 GB up there, file growth, it's the same thing. We're just trying to do it a little different way, that it works that way as well. So if there are any, the create database, food data, just double checking, and let's execute that and check if there are any errors. Log on. Food log 1, .lef. So let me just quickly check from the slide as well. Yep, that's it. So let's try it now. So what are we expecting here? Okay, let's just execute and then expect. So invalid message of the file growth in create alter database. File growth 1 GB. Yeah, there was that error coming here. Did I put extra space or what? So let's just go there, create alter database statement. What's wrong with, what's different here and here? So file growth here 10.4 megabyte, file growth here equals 1 GB, and maximum size unlimited, comma. Just trying to check all, see this successfully. So everything should be perfect here. Let's check. Yeah, sorry. Capital L here. This. Okay, suppose I keep it capital L, suppose, and put it back there. So what I did was I forgot the commas here. I just wanted to root out, okay, is that exactly what was missing, or then we can go for L as well. So I'm just gonna try that again now. Whole thing, execute. Okay, so it's not case sensitive. You could just put uppercase, lowercase, wherever. But of course, in order to understand perfectly, we need to know that. So if it is executed correctly, where is it? That database food. So I would just go first and check if it says correctly created. So are there databases created inside the MyDBS folder now? So in C drive, if I go there, double click, yep, food data 1 and food log 1 there, and they're both databases, right? Primary and transaction logs. So anyone knows the concept of transaction logs? They do transactions? Okay, that was an easy one, right? What's the concept? And you must have heard that in Exchange, obviously, or logs. But transaction logs and databases, we did talk. Oh, that's a good note I'm gonna make, because I'm gonna quiz that now. And I mean later. Yeah. Okay. So transaction logs, whenever there are transactions going on, temporarily the data is saved there in the logs, and then the logs commit the data to the database, right? So if we are not supposed to lose those transaction logs, accidentally delete or something, and suppose those transaction logs are there and they have received the data or transactions they have saved temporarily, and then they have copied the whole thing. So if I just try to create that quickly here, because maybe it's not clear. So if this is a database here, and I have so many transaction logs created here, these are just log files which are saving all the data temporarily first, And if I can just put here database. Okay, let's just pretend this is the database here. So transaction logs are being created as people are saving a lot of data on the database. This is the same story for Exchange Server as well. Emails are coming, so transaction logs are being created. They are in hundreds. They're created. So the data it touches all the logs. The data is saved here. When one log is full, the data starts filling up in the second log. Then the second log is full, the data starts filling up the third log, fourth log, and they're in hundreds. So first thing, the hard disk should be good, right? Second thing, hard disk should be dedicated for the log files. Separate hard disk. If you have the database and the log files, just like us right now, we have put on the same drive, that's a big design issue. Your hard disk will start filling up. So suppose you created database today new, and there were just 100 users, and you know that I have 2 terabytes or 4 terabytes of hard disk. Nothing to worry. So users start using databases sometimes, or their work starts growing up, so the data starts coming more and more, and before you know, your hard disk has started filling up, and you have to change that path. For that you need a downtime. So logs start filling up very, very fast when the data grows, when the users grow a lot. So what happens? The data is stored here. They have to commit this data to the database. So every log has to commit its data to database like this. So the database permanently saves it unless the user deletes that data. So now those logs who have committed the data or saved the data from the log files to the database, those logs have to be deleted now. How would you do that? There are hundreds, and they are always being created, like minions, right? In that movie, there are millions. Okay, just kidding. So how do you delete that? You as a system administrator could select all that and delete. No, you can't do that. So do you know that there is another way to do that automatically? Backup. If you run backup every day, the backup is aware of these transaction logs, and the backup will know from a .chk file, I'm trying to write myself. Okay. The .chk file is one of the log files here, and that file will say that, hey, these all logs have committed the database, and there are some other log files which have yet to commit the database. So delete all the log files that have committed the database, but leave those files which have not yet committed the database. So through backup only, automatically you can get rid of all those log files or transaction logs, right? So this is kind of a continuous struggle between the administrator and the logs, transaction logs, and the database and the backup. If the backup fails for 1 day or 2 days, somehow you didn't notice that the backup was not running yesterday night, and you would see right away in a working environment, you would see right away that night the backup did not run. By next day, new logs have been coming up, piling up, so your hard disk was full, your database is down, all those 200 users, 500 users are calling you every second, hey, when will we be able to access our files, or when the application that is connected to your database, if the database is down, the application is of no use, right? It's retrieving all the data for the users from that database. So this is the war that is continuous. Like, you do not keep an eye on the backup, you're in big trouble. You do not keep an eye on the transaction logs, you're in big trouble. Database keeps growing. So you must maintain that database as well. As a system administrator, you will be given the responsibility of your databases, and you will have to maintain those databases. And we are putting this on unlimited. The growth is unlimited. We just put it there as unlimited. So if we put it to limited, what will happen? it's going to fill up. Suppose instead of unlimited, I put here 40 GB. So when it reaches 40 GB, what happens? Of course, we discussed that before, that it's going to stop. And all the users, again, calling you and frustrated and blah, blah, blah. So that's why if you put it on unlimited, you are really going to try to keep a check on it and keep an eye on it, right? So this database was created on the default instance. So if I just minimize this best instance, and I go inside the database, there's that food database, and it's if we just check the path for that in the properties, if I right click the food and then go to the properties here and go for general or files, especially this is the path we saw last time, food data, food log. Now let's quickly create a table and put some columns and rows. So this is working. Last time we did not get to troubleshoot. And I just didn't want to put a lot of time there, but then I checked later that hey, we were doing the same thing and it was not working. That's strange. So now once the database is created, so we can also go for a slide. Just check some of the statements, because we'll be creating we'll be doing some more work here in the text editor for some of the settings in the instance, because we're trying to do instance level settings today and try to know more about what we can do after we install an instance, how much, what else we can do. So let's try to, so let me just show you that syntax as well. So first was this syntax. So this is the PowerPoint slide, so I'm just gonna start that. Okay, then we created that MyDBS, and then we made sure that the food data and the food log have been created. The database has been created. Then there is that table we can create. So I'm just gonna send you as well to do something at home by putting some labs together, so you could create tables and rows. It just keeps it's all logical and it just connects to each other. There's another exam for, actually there's another full course for really having in-depth knowledge of the queries in SQL Server, where you go for in-depth commands and statements and try to know how to really query a database, a huge database. But this is all about maintenance and system administration side of that. But we're going to still try to do a lot of syntaxes practice. So I'm just going to send you as well in Word document or PDF, to create tables and rows and try to get familiar with all those commands and syntax for those commands that we will be giving. So I'm just quickly going to create this, create table and snack. Okay, I know everyone's getting hungry now. So we should have put here Tim Horton. Anyway, so snack name varchar. So there's variable character, and 50 characters can be here. So this is a column that will be created in our table by the name of snack, and then there will be amount in OZ. What is OZ? Ounces? Okay. Integer. So I will be creating a table. It will have 3 columns: snack name, amount in ounces, calories, right? And what kind of input can we give there? So that would be variable character or character or integers we can give. So it's a very simple table that we want to create, and then we're going to check if that table was created by another statement, and then we're going to put some data inside each column. So if it was Excel, it would have been so easy. But in SQL Server, it's a little different, and this is interesting intro to the basics, just the basics of table, and then I'm going to send you that exercise that you should be doing at home before the next class. So let's just go there and do that. So it's a create table snack and then parentheses again and then the 3 columns. So let's I'm just gonna start doing that here and put it on magnifying. Okay, so we don't need the above one. We have already done that, creating the table successfully. So I'm just gonna delete that from there. Question: if we want to delete the database food, what was the command we used last time? Somebody said something. Again, sorry. Yeah, drop. So, okay, good. It's the coffee, right? So, please try to have Tim Horton coffee in the morning, right? So, so drop database. Yeah, exactly. DROP. So, drop database was the command for that. Okay, let's just go and create table snack parentheses snack name, column, first column snack name, second column amount in OZ, third column calories, fourth column will you stop it, will you stop eating? Oh, that was just kidding. Yeah, joke. But let's not make it boring. So while you're eating so much, there should be a table saying stop it, will ya? So that's just warning table, right? Column. You could just change it to anything, coffee or something. So snacking. What do we do? We need to define there what kind of input are we expecting here. So let's just go back and I'll show you that. So commas. Last time I forgot the commas. So varchar means variable character, which means that 50 spaces will be available here to fill up this in a column. Integer, you can put numbers there, integer here as well, calories, and will you stop eating? I don't know what to put there. I think character with 3. So varchar is variable character, 50 spaces. There's another, we can put there char or character, char. So we can actually define how much fixed spaces it can have. So we're gonna put char and then we're going to put 3 because yes has yes 3 characters and no has 2. So at least 3 characters we're gonna give that. So I'm just gonna put that there now and we're gonna try to see how it looks like. So varchar in comma after 50 integer comma, and the last one does not have comma, right? So variable character, how much? 50 spaces. So 50 characters could come here. int comma integer, yep, int comma, and will you stop eating? So that's let's just put it character, and how many characters? You could answer yes or no. So 3. And comma was after this. Okay, so let's try to do that. Parentheses, create table, snack. Do we need a comma here? Nope. So let's just, so I'm just gonna put that next screen here where we have created that. It looks like this. 4 columns we're expecting. When we execute this, the table, and then we go for to check that table by which we named as snack, right? So I'm just gonna go back here and try this now. So let's execute this. Select the whole thing, execute. Okay, command completed successfully. Is it successful for everyone? Yep. Okay, cool. So how do we check that? Select star table snack. Select execute. So is it table or is it just select star snack? So from select star from snack, right? From snack does it, so execute, or F5, select an F5. So now the table the columns show snack name, amount in ounces, calories, will you stop eating. So, and we can just put some more things. So let's just input some data here. How do we do that? So let's visit that and insert snack. So it's when you start putting the name of the table, it's going to detect that there's a table with by this name, and then this is the statement select. So what you want to put there, comma, in the first column, and then what you want to put there in the second column, what you want to put in this third column, and keep going, comma, fourth column, right? So let's try to put one statement first. So insert where in that table. Snack, we just have one table. Then select, and in the inverted commas we're having this honeycomb, which is filling up into the first column, right? So try to do this, and let's see if it works. So let me just go there. So so insert, when you start typing, it detects that there's a table, and then select so we can put 50 characters here. So I haven't put 50, but we did give it a long range. Then integer, amount in ounces. Okay, 100 ounces. Calories. We burn 100 calories. Will you stop eating? Oh well, I should have given it more characters. So no. Oops. So insert snack cookie. So snack name cookie 100. Amount in ounces, calories 100, and will you stop eating? No. So if we execute F5, so one row affected, right? So when it says that, of course it has input that data. So how do we check if it's there or not? How do we check if it's there or not? Again, the same statement. Select star, this one. Select star from snack. So if we do that, I think you guys may be way ahead. So if I just go there and press F5, does it show? Okay, it shows. So this is just basic, and we can make bigger columns, and we can also import an Excel table, Excel worksheet, and really import huge tables, and then start making queries, bigger queries there. This is going to be, so let's just put some more statements here. So I'm just going to quickly change that to select what? Oh, donuts. Oh God, I really need to go now. Tim Horton, here I come. Okay, no. So we had given 3 characters, right? So character for will you stop eating, 3, right? So if I say nopes, will that work? So if I just go for, so these are 5 characters. So F5, nope. Okay, I said nope. So if I say yes, I will stop eating because calories are too much. Not too much, actually. Yeah. Okay, so this is still 3, right? So if I go for this, now it's okay. So if you go for more than 3, as you defined here, it's not going to let you do that, right? So again, when you select that and press F5, now you have donuts, 100 calories, and yes. So this table could get really further, and we can, so I'm gonna, as I said, that I'm gonna send you the PDF file. You have to just complete that, creating the whole table, then importing tables, some new things, but it's going to be very easy. I'm gonna put some steps there as well, so you would be able to easily do that, create some more tables. And the more data we have, then we're going to discover more of the syntaxes that we can use. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to check some more, because now there will be other statements we're going to be using, other commands we're going to be using. Okay. Everyone was successfully able to do that? Everyone, right? Okay, cool. So instance level settings. Instance level options are sometimes described as SQL Server options itself. So we have 2 instances now, so we can easily see that. We will cover configuring SQL Server instance level options such as memory use, fill factor, processor, and IO affinity. You also learn about the model database and database mail. So this is the SQL instance properties. So whichever instance we want to configure, and there's a discussion of what options we should be turning on, what options we should not be touching, and what are the repercussions or what are the best practices. So if we go ahead, SQL Server instances are separate deployments, as we know already, separate deployments of database engine, analysis services, and reporting services. So we did deploy 2 instances, but for one instance we deployed analysis services. For the second instance we deployed reporting services, right? So we can deploy those separately, instance level features. But there were those shared features as well, which we deployed just once. No matter how many instances we deploy now, the shared features would remain the same. But these instance features, they can be different, but they were just very few. We did do that before, and we went through that. So each instance may have 1 database engine, 1 analysis services, and 1 reporting service installed. It can have that. So we can have, for the other instances, those remaining services that we can install, but that's all that one instance or each instance can have. Each instance has its own program files, directory, and security configuration. Okay. So we saw that as well. When we right click, there was a path for those instances. So if I go back and try to check the paths of two instances here, are they really different? So if I go to this default instance in the database, so if I right click this instance, database and properties here, and then go to, oh, that was for database, sorry, not for instance. So this, the database it has, so if I want to go to the properties, so I have food database here for inside the default instance here. I just wanted to check the path. So, excuse me, for the default instance, I will go to the only database that it has, food, and then I'm going to go to the files. I went to the properties by right clicking for the food database, then go to files, the paths. I want to check the path for that. So this is the database files area. If I keep going right side, this is what we defined, MyDBS. We just created that, right? So it's inside MyDBS folder. So I'm closing that now. And if I go to the other instance, and there are two databases there. So BES1 and BES2, that's what we created last time. So if we go to the properties of the BES1 and go to the files, so of course they are in a different path, MS SQL data. So there is that BES1.mdf. But if we were going to be creating one more database for the other SQL without giving that MyDBS path, but the original path, then we're going to check again the path. So how do we do from the GUI? I'm just going to so we have two databases for our BES instance or BlackBerry Enterprise Server, and we have one database for this SQL Server. So, oh, actually I have one more, but anyway. So I'm just going to create quickly another database. So I'm not creating in the BES instance. I'm creating in the SQL in the MS SQL default instance here. So how do I do that? I'm just going to click database, right click it, and new database. And all I need to do is just put the database name, and it's well, before it was food, so now it should be, well, we're going there, lunch. We are getting hungrier. Okay, I'm just gonna press OK. There's nothing else to do here. We can try to mess with these things, not mess, but just play with these things. But we're going to do it slowly now. Options, and we're going to try to understand and then do that. So right now what I did, just gave the name and press OK. Press OK. So lunch is there, the database name, not the actual lunch. Okay, so this, now I just wanted to check the path by default. What path was created there for this database, for this instance, the database? So properties, lunch. Now all the options for that database, newly created database, are there. So files, the path goes the same. It looks like the path is same. It's in the data folder for this database of this instance. So let's just go there instead. How do I go there? So we can just database files. This is the option. So I'm just going to go to program files, SQL Server. This is not x86 program files. SQL Server and then 11 version. This is so SQL 2012 is version 11, right? Written in the that's the version it's known with number. So I'm just going to go to the File Explorer, C drive, program files, SQL Server. Okay, so now we see the instance path MS SQL Server version 11 still, and the instance path, it separates here. Base instances, all the databases for base instances will be under base instance, of course, the folder here, and all the databases for MS SQL will be here. So the instances have their own independent directory structure. That's what we wanted to see, right? So unless we define it as we defined it in our statements, right? So if we install another instance, third instance, it's going to have a separate file structure, directory structure, right? Okay, so going back. So each instance has its own program files, directory, and security configuration. A user who can create and drop databases in one instance might not have rights to change databases hosted on another instance, even though both instances are installed on the same host. So you can become DBA. So you're the junior DBA and the senior DBA is really afraid of you. Suppose that's how it's the case. So when I was a junior system admin, my senior system admin was really afraid of me because he knew that I was so excited to do different configurations myself and gain that experience. So you can give your junior DBA access to MS SQL Server, the default instance. Hey, maintain that, and you know that there are no no critical data there for directors and bosses. It's just normal data, and you would not give the permission for that same person or junior admin to maintain the other instance. So we're going to talk about and do the security portion of that as well separately. So that's what we know, that separate instances are maintained separately, they are independent. Okay, let's go ahead. Multiple instances on the same host enable you to deploy SQL Server multiple times without requiring extra operating system deployment. So that's what we did. We installed 2 instances on the same operating system. There are also licensing benefits to deploying multiple instances of SQL Server on the same host. If you were deploying another SQL Server, of course, you would need another license for that. So per instance, when you're having lots of instances on the same server, you're still working on one license. SQL Server 2012 enables you to deploy up to 50 database instances on a single host. So we have just 2 right now, but we can have 48 more, right? So let's go ahead. You can configure instance level settings by right-clicking a specific instance. We just did that. Properties, dialog box. So instance properties. There are a lot of properties there. General, view general information about the instance, including the host operating system, root directory, and server collation. You can't modify settings on this page. Oh, we can't? So we are the DBA, or we are just handling that, and we cannot modify anything on this. So if I go back to my instance here and go to Management Studio, and I always have to do this plus sign. So where do I go? So I can go to any instance. I can just put them like this, and instance number 1 or 2, anyone, go to properties, and this is the general, the memory, the processors, security, connections, database settings. So you might be handling an instance which is serving 1,000, 2,000 users. Maybe it's a insurance company, and all the employees remotely or locally in the company are accessing that database, and you're managing that instance. So you have to make sure all these settings help you optimize the user experience, and they don't see any kind of performance issues. So general, this is the first option, and if I double click here or anything, we cannot change that. So it is the general information. It's just an overview of okay, memory is 2 gigs here, root directory is this, clustered. Is it clustered? No, but later we're gonna do clustering as well. That's gonna be a tough one, and interesting one of course, and all other features. So, and the name of this. So general, yes, we cannot make any changes there. Memory. Now there we need to understand how can we actually maintain this. Suppose there are 2,000 users connecting and you're maintaining that instance. If that instance has any issue, problem, or a hiccup, so you would be definitely receiving a lot of calls from the users, and we're pretending that suppose there are 2,000 users connecting to that application, and that application is connecting to this database, this instance actually, and maybe there are many databases here in this instance. So what are those precautions, or in fact how basically it works? So we cannot make any changes in the general option. So then the memory, configure instance memory options, including minimum, maximum, index creation memory, and minimum memory per query. So we're going to be discussing about that. What are the precautions, the best practices for the memory configuration. Then there is processors, of course. You will have high-end processors in your servers, Dell, HP, and you would be really trying to make all the experiences of all the processes of the SQL Server really an optimized level. So what are the best practices for that? We're going to discuss that. And then there's security. This is coming in next classes, because we're going to go in depth into security. So if we go further, connections is another topic as well. Then we're going to try to check what are the options in database settings, configure defaults, index fill factor, default backup media retention, recovery filter. So what are those terms anyway? Advanced, and then configure file stream options, enable contained databases, and triggering firing. Okay, that's not firing thing. 2-digit year cutoff, and there are many other options there, right? And then the permissions. So memory, by default, a SQL Server 2012 instance uses memory. So there will be some questions popping up now. So if you have read this slide or the next slide, then on the third slide, whatever question is coming, you will be able to answer that question. If you haven't read this one, you won't be able to answer, right? So this one or the next one, the question will be coming from any one of the slides. So by default, a SQL Server instance uses memory dynamically. So what does that mean? Querying the host operating system on a periodic basis to determine how much free memory is available and releasing memory back to the host as needed to avoid paging. What is, anyone knows what is paging? We did talk about it. Yeah, exactly. Where is it located? Or in the hard drive. So that is virtual RAM. When do we start? When does the operating system need to use it? When there is no? Well, exactly. So when you are unable to use the RAM, the portion of the hard disk is used. But what is it saying here? So SQL Server instance uses memory dynamically, so querying the host operating system. So SQL Server as an application asks the host periodically to determine how much free memory is available and releasing memory back to the host as needed to avoid paging. So if SQL Server does not need the memory, it's going to release that memory back to the operating system. So it's going to give it back, right? So if the instance needs more memory and memory is available, a SQL Server 2012 instance will request memory from the host operating system. So application is asking the host whenever the application needs memory, and application, the SQL Server application is giving back that memory when the application does not need the memory, right? So you can use the minimum server memory and maximum server memory instance level settings to configure the amount of memory in megabytes an instance of SQL Server 2012 uses. So why do we use that, and what are the best practices for that? Minimum server memory value. So the minimum server memory ensures that the instance has a minimum memory allocation. Anyone knows what's the logic already? That why would we even try to define minimum memory? We're securing at least this much memory if there is a desperate time when the SQL Server, there is a lot of memory being already used, and operating system might need the rest of the memory, and the application says, hey, wait a minute, operating system, I have reserved this minimum memory for my basic working right now, so you cannot have that. So in fact, even if the application is not using that minimum memory, if you define there, it will not let that go, right? It will not let that minimum memory go. So at least this is for those times when the memory is scarce and you don't have much. So you're not that minimum memory is also not snatched away from your application. So an instance does not use this amount of memory at startup. Okay. And but when client load reaches this amount, SQL Server will not release memory back to the operating system. So it will stop operating system, hey, please, I need that, so I'm not letting you have this memory, right? If an instance never uses the minimum amount specified, if your database is just sitting idle, what does it do? That amount will not be reserved by the instance, and memory will be released back to the operating system. So the question is, does the instance grab hold of minimum memory value if it is not using it, or does it gives back to the operating system? That was an easy one. So does it give it back to operating system if it is not using, or it grabs hold of, it just keeps its hold on the minimum memory? If we define the minimum memory, if we give the minimum memory to the operating system, what does it do? So if I go there now, and this is the minimum memory area. So this is for this instance, I define it, suppose 128 megabyte. This is minimum you need to grab or keep hold of it. So the question again, does the instance grab hold of minimum memory value if it is not using it, or does it gives back to the operating system that memory if it's not using that? Yes, okay, great answer. Anyone else? Actually, nobody said anything. So any guess? There's either this or that, so you have a choice. Maybe you don't know and you just said the correct thing, you'll be a hero. So the concept is, what's the concept here? That if you give the minimum memory value to the SQL Server and it's not using that, I just gave 128 megabyte and the SQL Server is not even using that, so it's going to give it back to the operating system. Hey, just use it, I'm not using that, so I'm just sitting idle, and my DBA is, I don't know what he's doing, he's not configuring me correctly. So the answer is this. Remember that the minimum reserve will not apply if the minimum reserved memory is not used. So 128 MB I have given there, it's not going to be with the application if it's not using that. Operating system will start using that right away. Okay, when SQL Server 2012 is run on a 32-bit operating system, the lowest minimum memory value you can allocate is 64 megabyte. So if you're in a company where there is 32-bit SQL Server still working on Windows 2008, and you will see that, so you can assign, or you can see the best practices there, that at least 64 megabyte of memory is allotted to that minimum. Otherwise, administrators also give more than that. But if SQL Server 2012 is run on a 64-bit operating system, the lowest minimum memory value you can allocate is 128 megabyte. That's what I just did. Allotted it 128 megabyte memory because we are running a 64-bit operating system, right? So default setting for minimum server memory is 0, and the default maximum is, this is 2 gigs. Does it look like 2 gigs? It looks like 2 exa. So a setting of 0 means that the minimum server memory value is not set. So it's not set right now. But we can set it to 128 megabyte here because we are running a 64-bit SQL Server. We're not running a 32-bit. So everyone did that? Because we're gonna use some queries, some statements to mess with it later. So true or false? When SQL Server 2012 is run on a 32-bit operating system, the lowest minimum memory value you can allocate is 128 megabyte. Oh, false or true. So answers from the right side are coming. How about this side? Oh, okay. So yeah, that was still an easy because I'm just getting you guys ready for the brutal quiz, and you're gonna be like, huh, what is this? Okay, anyway. So if you have deployed more than one instance of the database engine on a single host server like this, you can manage memory by using the following strategies. Strategies are still coming, but this is this is SQL Server. These could be the instances, 2 instances. We have 2 databases for BAS, and we have 2 databases for the default MS SQL already. But here I'm just showing 3 databases here. In fact, 3 for the MS SQL we have. So configuring memory from SQL. You can use SP configure when advanced options are enabled to configure maximum and minimum server memory. For example, to configure an instance to use a minimum of 1024 MB of memory and a maximum of 8 GB of memory, use the following query. Let's try to use this query. This is going to be and yeah, this, am I repeating that? No, I'm not repeating. So let's do that. Let me just try that and show you. So if you want to make changes in the instance through the SQL statements, especially instance level, so we have to first execute this, and then this go reconfigure colon and go. So this means it is you're letting yourselves make changes in the instance by giving these commands. Just like you have in PowerShell that set dash execution policy unrestricted, right? So let's just go there, and I have this copy paste. I have the luxury of copy pasting that. So let me just first try to show you that if it is working, and then we can go for what am I doing? Okay, so what I want to do is 128 is there and 2 gigs is there. I want it to be 8 GB, and this we could it could be any number, or I could just put it 0 now and make it 128 later. So press OK here, and so for this, first I'm going to remove all this. I don't need that table. Will you stop eating? Oh, never. Okay, so and paste. So how does it look like? So this is, let me just execute that. So it says here configuration options show advanced options change from 0 to 1. 0 means disabled, 1 means enabled. Run the reconfigure statement to install. right? So now we can make changes in the, so can you try this now and see if exactly this is working for you? So now we're going to make instance level changes from SQL statements, and we'll go first easy. So just changing the memory size, minimum and maximum, but for that you have to enable yourself to do that. So you could write this. Are you able to see that? And just see that there's a comma after the show advanced options, and then one space one, and then colon. Then go, reconfigure, colon, go. And let me know when you're done. So we're gonna just then change the memory option, right? Done? Hey, you're fast, man. Anyone else done? All right. Wow. Okay, cool. So going away from the screen. Anyone else? Still working? Let me know. Whoever is still writing, let me know. Okay. So I'm just gonna put another one here that's going to make us change that or enable us to change. So this is a statement for you can see this minimum server memory, and we are defining the memory, and then we are putting go there, and then there's maximum server memory, we're defining it, and then we are putting go there, and then reconfigure and go. So if I just put this now for minimum server, I'll just show you there now after putting, and you can just type it as well here. So going there, line 6, I'll start from line 6, and wow, there's some serious typing going on. Some of us are really good. You've been doing a lot of chats, right? Like me. Huh? That's how we get our typing speed. But so if it is done, hey David, you're not doing that. Come on. So if I execute, is it going to work successfully? Is it going to give us error? So I selected that and clicked execute, and what we're expecting is that the minimum memory, which was 0 in my case, is it changed to 1 megabyte, 1024. So once you guys are done, I'll check it. Because this is very useful when we will be having more than 10 instances, and then we're going to start changing the configurations of large amount of instances in one go. So if I go now and check, this is for the default one, so I'm just going to go and check the properties, memory. Yep, it is 1024. I put it to 0, but it has changed to 1024 when I check the default instance, MS SQL Server, right? So this is for the minimum server memory. sp configure is the command that we're going to be using a lot for making changes in the SQL instances. So I'm just going to go back and put the second one, which is the maximum memory. So if I just paste this much, copy and paste this much, and this is for the maximum memory. You can see that what's the difference there between minimum and maximum for as far as the syntax is concerned. So I'm just going to put it separately now, paste, and the go did not get copied. Go. So the only difference is max server memory is there, of course, the memory type. So instead of 2 in the start, which was 2 gigs, 2 gigabyte, it should be 4 gigabyte showing now. if it is successfully executed. And then we double check in our default instance if our maximum memory has changed to 4 gigs. So what is it, coffee or David? Is it coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay. So you have your databases loaded or? Yep. Okay. So okay, I'll just execute that. Let's see if it works. Execute, and yes, configuration option, maximum memory changed from this to this. Oh, it's showing that. So 2 gigs to 4 gigs. Run the reconfigure statement to install. Right click, properties, and memory. Yep, it's changed. So press OK, and then one more thing I just wanted to check here is if I restart now, is it going to stay this configuration? I'm just restarting this instance now. So restart, yes. I just right click this instance and click restart. That's all. Yes. The instance is restarting, but only MS SQL instance is restarting, which means I just wanted to see that does it really saves that, or did we have to run that reconfigure command to make sure that it implemented it permanently? But that's just I'm just checking that. So properties, memory, it saves that even if the instance is restarted, right? So this is permanent, and I'm just going to run that other portion. Last time I did not copy that. So copy, reconfigure, go, and then go ahead. Not connected. A transport level error has occurred when sending the request to the server provider, shared memory provider. New process is on the other end of the pipe. Okay, yeah. We need to still make some more changes here, so I'm just gonna see this what's missing there later. So right now, if we restarted the instance, these are the permanent changes we did, right? So let's go ahead a little and try to see other features and try to change those features from the instance, the statements. Okay, so line 52. When do you need a break? Because it's in the mid of the class. It's 2 hours more. So if you need a break, this is the time. Otherwise, you will regret. Oh no, you're not gonna regret. You're gonna just be bored to, you know what. So 2 hours more. What we're gonna start after that. So you need a break before that. Yeah. So just okay, have 15-minute break or 10-minute break. Come back. 1. Okay. So just gonna go back to where we started. Where we stopped actually. So minimum and maximum server. So we made the changes, and oh, there's a break starting now. The break starting now. Okay, you're going for somewhere. I was saying, hey, it's a break. Go now. So when the break ends, now you go. Okay, so. But of course, you can do whatever you want. Minimum server memory, we did that already, so it is used for where it really needs. It's not gonna let go of that memory. So there was a question there, then we answered that. So I'm just gonna go quickly now. There was a true or false, and then we use this statement, SQL query statement for putting the minimum and maximum memory. And now there is this use maximum memory to limit the amount of memory each instance uses. So suppose one instance really requires, maybe there are 2,000 users connecting and it's the end of the year and they are just putting a lot of data at the end of the year. So you as a DBA admin, database admin, you get to know that one of the instances is really sucking up a lot of memory from other instances or consuming a lot of memory from other instances. So you would want to put a maximum limit to that instance that, hey, don't just try to consume all the memory. Other instances on the SQL Server would also will also need that. So don't try to take a lot of memory. So if you have done a virtualization course and VMware especially, you may have gone through that topic of dynamic memory allocation. One virtual machine. So a hypervisor makes available the memory for the virtual machine that needs it the most. Anyone knows? You've gone through VMware course, right? So do you know the name of that feature that dynamically makes available the memory processing for the virtual machines? Sorry? Ballooning, but the main feature, that's okay, what's DRS? Resource scheduling. So resource scheduling is so that's intelligent one. So welcome to Microsoft. No, Microsoft also has a hypervisor which is Hyper-V, but we're not talking about that. We are talking about the operating system. So if one instance takes away a lot of memory, it's not that intelligent to actually give it back, or take it back from that instance and distribute it to the other instance. So you as a DBA has to make sure that which instance is consuming a lot of memory and which instance is requiring a lot of memory. So sometimes you have to manually allocate that, or sometimes you have to put a limit to some of the notorious instance. Okay, notorious means just that all of a sudden it's just consuming a lot of memory, and other instances the users who are connecting to the other databases are saying, oh wow, we don't have memory and there's a bad performance. And then you investigate and check that, oh okay, this is one of the instances that I put it on unlimited and it's just consuming all that memory. So allocate memory based on expected instance usage. So you have to keep an eye on peak hours to all the instances and try to understand that which instance is normally consuming a lot of memory at what particular hours of the day during the week, and then put a cap on that, right? So you can just give it a maximum memory and then check for a week or two that this maximum memory is being is enough and is more than enough for that instance, and the users are not asking for questioning the performance of that their databases. So maximum we would put, but we already have put maximum memory for our instance. So this strategy has the drawback of limiting an instance to an upper boundary when other instances might not fully use their allocation. So okay, there will be a true or false coming. So use minimum server memory to establish minimum memory settings for each instance. Ensure that the total minimum memory sum is 1 or 2 GB less than the total physical memory of the host. Right? So this strategy has the advantage of allowing instances to use more than a fixed allocation when possible. So while this is the case, if I put a question here now, and of course it's live, so an instance can have 8 GB minimum memory, while the OS has 8 GB. So is that a true or a false? So an instance can have 8 GB minimum memory while the operating system totally has 8 GB memory. True or false? Minimum. An instance can have minimum of 8 GB memory while the OS has 8 GB. Any guess from anyone? Okay, you're saying true. From the left side, somebody dared to answer. Otherwise, it's all answers coming mostly from the right side. My side here, left side, has left. So, any guess? Okay, so what's the concept behind that? Behind what? Ensure that the total minimum memory sum is 1 or 2 GB less than the total physical memory of the host system. Does it, is it related to that? The total minimum memory sum is 1 or 2 GB less than the total physical memory of the host system. So it should be lesser than the total host memory when the time comes, and when there is very scarce memory, then you will be grabbing a hold of this minimum memory. So it should be not the full memory of the physical operating system. So if you do nothing, the host operating system allocates memory on a first come first served basis. So we changed it, but if we do nothing, then whichever instance requires the memory will get the memory, right? First come first served basis. SQL Server does not attempt to balance memory usage across instances, meaning that memory might be disproportionately allocated when in contention. Okay, this was a difficult one. Disproportionately. Yeah, I did it. Okay, anyway, so allocated when in contention. So operating system will be not what? Will be not intelligent enough to grab the memory back or give the memory back to the instance if in case one instance just grabs the whole memory. It's not like VMware, right? So to avoid this, Microsoft recommends that you use either the maximum server memory or minimum server memory allocation strategy on computers that host multiple SQL servers. So at least we can just try to do those strategies that we discussed before. That when would you give minimum memory, and when, and this would be my favorite quiz questions. Anyway, anyone here Shuo Zhu? Anyone knows? Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but Shuo Zhu. Henry, sorry. Sorry. No mind. So, okay, memory allocation, we know that minimum and maximum memory could be given. Then there is processors configuring processor and IO affinity. Anyone knows what's IO? IO means for what? Which device do we normally use it for? Exactly. So input output or IOPS. What is IOPS? Per second. So IOPS. So how you would give the hard disk and IO affinity to the processing. So this is something that the operating system automatically does. So if we go to that portion, we're going to just see that. Okay, always have to do this magnifying thingy. So if I go to the SQL instance, right click properties and go for so this is the memory, and then there's the processor here, and this is something that it's recommended to let operating system handle this setting. But what is it for? Automatically set processor affinity mask for all processors, automatically set IO affinity mask for all processor. So let's try to speak in English now, because this is too cryptic, and the definition would be processor affinity assigns specific server processors to specific threads. Anyone know what's a thread in a processor? What's a thread? Not thread. Huh? You're kidding me, man. Sorry? Exactly. So what is multiple threading? Multi-threading. Simultaneously, some processes are being executed by the processor, right? Multi-threading. So simultaneously, some processes are being. So what the only purpose here is that the SQL Server processes are assigned individual threads of the processor to perform the task optimally, to perform the task fast. So they are given or assigned, or they are affiliated with the processor threads, especially given, hey, do this task, do this task, do this task. There are 4 SQL tasks at once. Somebody's retrieving the data, somebody's writing the data. So threads are assigned for those tasks to make those tasks faster. And also IO affinities binds and affinity binds and instances disk IO to a specific set of CPUs. So if the SQL Server is actually doing a read and write on the disks, that read and write is also bound to the CPU or the processing to make that read and write even much faster than before. So these settings are recommended to be automated. We are not supposed to change those settings, and if we in very special circumstances do we do that. But overall, best practice is to keep them, let the operating system handle these settings, while the memory is something we should try to change. So fill factor, there is another option here in database settings, which is fill factor. Looks like a name of the movie, but anyway, there was a name of the movie very famous, which was also factor something. Fear factor. Okay. That's show. The Fear Factor. That's a reality show. Yeah. So okay. Anyway. So yeah, this is also reality, but not show. So fill factor determines the percentage of space on each leaf level page that is filled with data when an index is created or rebuilt. Wow. English, please. So anyone knows what's a page in a database? Okay, that's a unit of SQL. That's where the data, page by page, the database is filled. So what it says that percentage of space on each leaf level page that is filled with data when an index is created or rebuilt. What is index? Anyone knows that? It is used in Exchange Server as well, for Exchange databases as well, and indexes are rebuilt as well. What is the concept of index? Yeah, correct. Okay, anyone else? No, there was telepathic information I was receiving from certain students that it is this, and I was like, no. So, hey, Exchange 2013 guys, come on, we must know indexing. You must have rebuilt in the labs, no? Okay. So index is a file. So we were talking about page file, and it has its own purpose. Index file has all the data that would help search inside the database, anything. So the queries are sent to the index file, and then it has addresses to, your data is there in the database, and your data is there in the database. Sometimes the queries are so many, the index file grows or it gets corrupted. So when the index file corrupts, the queries are not able to search correctly in the database. So index is then rebuilt. So indexes are for searching in the database. So it's just saying that remaining space is used for future growth. Fill factor is configured as a percentage value between 1 and 100. The server-wide default is 0. Fill factor can be configured at the individual index level and at the server level. So the thing is that each page is filled with data. So it's just saying that if more data arrives, it puts the page in half, or it splits the page in half to get more data added to that page. This just means that if the pages are filling fast, then it will split the pages, and that will make the data get saved faster, and then it is read faster later or retrieved faster later. So this is the area where we can just leave it like this, and the SQL Server will maintain it automatically itself, or it's just you can when you are an advanced DBA, then you can mess with this. And so mainly it's just that the page on the database is filled. If it is filled to the capacity, it should just split to half to make space for more data to be added to the database. So this is something that when you get to advanced levels, or at the end of the course, we'll be visiting these options again, but that time we would have done a lot of labs to understand this. This was again, this slide is just far ahead. This is what we did already. Char is alphanumeric, it just takes 10 characters, and var is variable character. We just did that, but we're going to be doing a lot of other exercises in next class as well. So database configuration and standardization. The model database serves as the template for all new databases. So there has to be a template database somewhere, right? So when we are creating a database, there is a setting that is always there. So there has to be a template database from which it's gathering all the setting. So that is called model database, and it's inside this path here as shown in the slide. This includes the temp DB database, which the instance creates each time it starts. Anyone knows what's a temp DB? So temp DB is temporary database. Sorry. Exactly. Perfect. So as the name says, exactly as you said, that temporarily, when you start the SQL Server, temp DB is created. Now, if you're executing any statements there, or if you are retrieving data, or saving a data, it's all happening inside the temp DB. When you stop the temp DB, when you restart the SQL Server, when you shut down the SQL Server and restart, a new temp DB is created, right? So when you restart a instance, a new temp DB is created at that time. But temp DB is like where you're currently all the database transactions going on, but they're not permanent exactly. So creating a new database involves making a complete copy of the contents of the model database. So if we change the settings of the model database, any new copy we are creating will have those changes. So we have certain statements, SQL queries that we're going to use now, and that will get everyone back to the class. Everyone is in the class, of course, but some of them, will be back to planet Earth and Toronto, George Brown, room 412. You're welcome there. Okay, so in the model database, we're going to make some changes. Then we're going to create some databases, or 1 or 2 databases, just to check if all the changes, or whenever you create from now on any database, because we change the model database, those new databases will have those changes that we made. So because this is acting as a template for any new database creation. So any modifications you make to the model database will apply to the database you create in the future. Okay, let me check one thing. Was I recording? Okay, thank God. Okay, yeah, numbers are moving. So let's go ahead. You cannot alter the properties of the model database by adding files or file groups or removing a primary file group, data file or log file. So we're gonna know that what portions of the model database we can change and what components we cannot change. Modifying the collation, the model database uses the server collation. Modifying the database owner, the model database is owned by DBO. Dropping the database, so we cannot just make these changes, right? Dropping the guest user, enabling change capture, creating a database mirror. So doing all these will not happen on the model database. You can configure the recovery model. So that's what we're going to configure with SQL statements. And then we're going to check if they were really changed in the model database. So you can configure the recovery model, auto close, auto shrink, and other options for all. Future databases that you create on an instance, on the options page of the model database, that will be changed actually in SQL Management Studio. So making changes to the model DB, this is how we can make changes from graphical interface. Let's make changes with the SQL statement. So we would know that if we had to make changes for multiple instances, those same SQL statements could be used for doing that on large scale. So you can use the alter database statement with the set recovery option to configure the recovery option for the model database. So what is the recovery option? If I go back there to the database and let's go to an instance. So I'm going to the system databases of the default instance, and then there is that model database. So any database for this instance I create will be created on the basis of the configuration present here in the model database. So just for this instance, so suppose I make changes. So this is a question now. I make changes to this model database and I create new databases in this instance. So will the new databases of this instance have the same information changes that I had it on this database or not? No? Yes? No. Because this model database will have the changes only available for the new databases of this instance. And this instance has its own model database. So making changes here does not affect here, making changes there does not affect here, right? So what about that option that we just read? If I right click the model database and go to properties, then we have general here, files, file groups. When we go to the options here, now there is a recovery model, there is auto shrink here that we can change, from GUI, auto update statistics, and then we have all these settings. So file stream, and if we keep going down here, there's a lot of changes we can do. By default, this is how it is. All our new databases are having these configurations. So let's try to change that from the SQL statements and then check it back again if those statements really work, and then we can use those statements in future for making changes to multiple databases, multiple instances by using some new syntaxes and new commands as well. So I'm just going to put that command there. So let's check if this works for recovery full. So set recovery full with no wait. So alter database, let me just show, and then there is that other command which is auto close on and with no wait, and then there is another command auto shrink on with no wait. So we're gonna have these three commands Okay, one is auto shrink, then there is auto close, and this one, which is this. So let's write this. Use and then brackets and master, then go, then alter database, model, set recovery full with no wait, go, and I'm just going to copy it first. And so even if I leave the rest of the commands up there, whichever I select and execute will be executed there. So paste. This is how the command looks like. Set recovery full with no wait. So what is the recovery option right now? If I go to the model, right click properties and go to options, so recovery model shows full, right? So there is bulk logged, there is simple as well, and then auto shrink shows false, auto update statistics true, auto update statistics asynchronously false. So let's see the changes we try to make there. Set recovery full with no wait. So if I try to execute that, so command successfully completed. But what is the command? So anyone wrote that? So this is this one. Wow, that's pretty fast typing. Someone is doing really fast typing. Yeah, are you an essay writer? Do you write books? I mean, no, the typing is like, or is it just one key? Wow, David, you had a T, and now you're having triple. Is it triple? Extra large triple?
It's dark roast.
Okay, dark roast. Oh, that's dark. Okay, so you should be trying with us, you know. Next classes, try. So this command did run successfully, but what did it do? I refresh, I right click the model database and refresh. Options, and what did it do? So we can go for bulk logged instead of recovery model full. Hey, it was already full. So did you try to see what changes it made? So recovery, set recovery full. Can we put it to simple? So if I go and select F5, command completed successfully. Right? Model, properties, options. Okay, it's simple. So this means that the statement works, and this we can just save it in our, you know, our own list of a notepad file or an Excel or Word file where we start saving our queries. And then we explain also that, okay, this does this does that. There was that other option of bulk logged as well. Bulkhead. Oh, okay, bulk logged. Hey, who watches Transformers? Come on. Oh, okay. So bulk logged was there. So I'm just going to check that now. Properties. Then we're going to try to make that bulk dash logged. So if there's a syntax error, or if it says that it does not accept that hyphen there, that's going to be a problem. So if I just go and select and press F5 and check it out. So it says incorrect recovery, incorrect syntax near recovery. Oh, set recovery bulk dash locked. If I just go for bulk, because it is giving that error while the name is still, so the third one has to have, then it's not, oh, okay, then we can just make it like in commas as well, logged, comma. Can we do that? It's already incorrect syntax near bulk log. The spellings are correct, but it's not doing that. So the third option we have to check what are the problems we are having. But if we go for auto shrink and auto close options, the main statement we are using is alter database, right? So we had a collection of all those queries before as well. There was select and there was alter, there was drop. So let's just go ahead and try to do this. So this is alter database model. Yep.
Maybe try with the underscore.
Underscore? Does this, incorrect syntax still. Did you try? If we remove that. Oh. Hey, yeah. Way to go, guys. Alright, so we have this also solved. So if it's not accepting hyphen, we can just go for, okay, here it's clearly not underscore, but definitely this is good troubleshooting, or just shooting, no, troubleshooting, or shooting the trouble. Anyway, so I'm just gonna put that second and third, auto close and auto shrink, so we can just save all these, so don't delete them, save it in notepad somewhere, so we'll be using that or altering it further in later classes with some bigger or more options plus more instances as well. We want to make those changes later with 5 or 6 instances together in one statement. So try to don't delete them, save them all somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to quickly put that set auto close on with no wait. So alter database. So this is it. I'm just going to try to copy that. Yeah, I have the luxury of copying there. Hey, I did write that the first time. Come on. Okay, not even the first time. I copied that too. So I'm just going to put that again there. Okay, so nothing changes there. Set auto close instead of recovery, and it is on. Auto close was on before or not? So if I go to model properties, auto close is even there or not? There it is, and it's false. Auto shrink is false. That's it. So we can just try these two at least, and while we get the idea of okay, that's how it's going to be, we can just put any of these settings, we can just put any of these names, and then within the same syntax we can just try to mix it. Database read only, false, we can just make it true, right? So definitely it's going to work. Auto close, and let me just copy that with auto shrink as well, because both are false, so we're just gonna make it both true. So this is also there, but I'm just gonna put it auto shrink. They're both false, so they should be on when we put it. So can we execute both at the same time? If I select them both and press F5, command completed successfully. Both false should be true now for auto close and auto shrink. So I'll just check now. Properties, options. Yeah, they're all auto shrink and auto close are true. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's put it back to false. So if I want to put them back to false, what do I change here? So in these two statements, the only thing I need to change to put it back to false, outer clause here, off. F5, command completed successfully. Let's try to check that, because we're going to be using this further, and let's not turn them on now. We just need to know how to do that, right? So yes, they're off. And bulk logged here, no, we don't want that as well. To back to full. So we're just going to make that small change in the recovery model again, just to make that. So in the recovery, instead of bulk logged, we're just going to go for full again and execute this one as well. Select that, press F5, and did it okay, completed successfully. So recovery full, because we're going to be using this database, so let's put it back to its previous settings. So set recovery is full again. Auto close, auto shrink are off again, right? And if you've made those changes, just select them all and just, you know, F5 them once. So right click, properties, I'm just going to double check that now. Yes, it's on full recovery model. So now we know that these are the statements to make changes without GUI. And let's go ahead and try to check some other stuff. So we're still going with all the features of the instance of the database. Instance of the database. So which system database must you modify if you want all future databases to use the full recovery model? Oh, come on, that's the easiest one. The name of the database is master database, right? Right? Hey, I said it wrong. Model one. Okay. Okay. So yeah, everyone knew that. So it was so easy that nobody participated even. So okay, model database. But that was like piece of cake. So you must modify the model. Yeah, we know that. That was the answer actually. So now next topic, and I'm going according to what? According to this book, right? You should from Microsoft Press Store. You can buy it on discount with student ID. I think you can buy it in $47, $37 maybe. I guess it's like, you know, cheaper than a game, you know, PlayStation 3 game or Xbox One game or so. But you can refer to it. There's so many statements like that, and it's to the point, and it's going to prepare you for the certification that is very important to get you in the job market earlier if you're done with all those certifications, right? So again, try to get this book, and if you're having problem getting this book, let me know. So distributed transaction coordinator. A distributed transaction coordinator that is a transaction that runs across multiple servers. So distributed means that there's a transaction running across multiple servers. MSDTC is not required if transactions run across multiple instances. When we're talking about multiple instances, it's always one server, right? One physical server hosted on the same server. You do not need MSDTC for instances that host only analysis services. So we have one of the instance that is just hosting analysis services. We're going to be going in depth with reporting services and the analysis services. But for now, what we need to understand is this feature, is it required for an instance or not? What is this feature anyway? And where is it? If I go back to my database here, so let's check where it is. So MSDTC, do you see anywhere here that MSDTC option there? So if we go way down, oops, we didn't have that service yet. Management, and then distributed transaction coordinator. So this is one service that we can enable if we have multiple physical SQL servers and there are transactions going on between those servers, between the instances of two different physical servers. And anyone can give me an example of that? So, okay, good. That was a good choice. Yeah, no, nobody told. What kind of transaction can be done across physical servers? What kind of SQL activity can go on across, physical servers? There could be applications that are communicating. So they have a database in one physical server, and the copy of that database is running on the second physical server. So this means for high availability, there are transactions going on. So there is a new data being added on one database, and its exact copy is being made on the other database that is present on the next physical server, right? So this is transactions going on. This is the best example of transactions going on across two physical servers. For that, we would need distributed transaction coordinator. So it's not going to be required when we are having one physical server with multiple instances as we have it now. Although we have two physical servers, we're going to be using that for our clustering and always on features that we're going to be later implementing. So you configure MSDTC to function in a cluster by using failover cluster manager. And as we already discussed that, clustering is that you can have two nodes where one node can have a database which is active, and the second node has a database that is on standby. So whenever the active database is down, the standby would just take over and keep the show running without any amount of downtime. And that requires a configuration of Windows clustering. It's very tricky, but it's going to be very interesting. We will be needing 4 machines for that, 4 VMs. I think I'll be the only one doing the lab then when we required 4 machines. But if you are investing in your hardware and this is your IT, if IT is your career, you must have a very good hardware. See, it even rhymes. So, if IT is your career, you must have a good okay. So anyway, so if you don't get a good hardware, you won't be having lots of labs to work on, and we need that definitely. So you configure this. So let's just go ahead and database. So there's database mail that we need to configure. We will be there. If database is down, if the database is performing bad, if there's any kind of problem going on, and you're getting emails for those performance issues, as well as there are reports going on for how much data has been inserted. So all that requires that you have to enable emails on your database. So database mail enables the SQL Server database engine to send email messages. Wow. Okay. Anyway, developers can use database mail to create database applications that can send email. Yes. Okay. Database mail uses the SMTP protocol, so any compatible SMTP server can receive messages. Okay. Pretty simple till now. And it's also available under management. But there are some statements we have right now available to configure the database email. Let's check if it works. Well, it should. The database mail process is isolated from the SQL Server database engine. If the mail process fails, SQL Server queues messages until it becomes available. So in your Exchange class, you might have done that lab or not, or maybe you had the Exchange server installed, right, in your labs, and you may have 2 Exchange servers. Did you try the, if you could receive the emails from outside in Exchange server?
Just local
Internal. Okay. Yeah, but that's all quite tricky, and you must have your own domain, right? So redirect the emails to. Okay. And did you try the DAG feature? Try to take down the. You're kidding me. Okay. No comments here. I rest my case. Okay. Or etc. No, but Okay. Hey, in Exchange, we do so much. But yeah, that George Brown would not let us if I would have done that. Okay. So, database mail can use more than one target SMTP server. If one SMTP server is unavailable, database mail routes mail through another server. That's pure Exchange talk. Database mail is cluster aware, okay, and can be installed on failover clusters. Can't wait to do that. So you can configure multiple mail profiles within a SQL Server instance. I know it's all pretty boring stuff, but SQL application developers choose an appropriate profile when sending messages. So when I send you the quiz, these, okay, I should not play with that chair. Okay, so again, up. I hate that switch. So in quiz, just go through the videos. That would be your only answer. Okay, this is another set of SQL statements that we're going to put. You don't have to do the top part here, the SP configure. We already did it once, and we just have to do it once. But this only, which enables database mail XPs, or it enables or activates the emailing process. But later, after doing this, I'll just go further a little. You can create database mail accounts by using the sysmail add account SP stored procedure. For example, to create a database mail account named example. So there's an example here, and this would create what? Example that uses the address example@contoso.com. Well, this is typical Microsoft Lab query. So Contoso, they always use that. And the SMTP server, smtp.contoso.com. Suppose that's the case, then we can execute this statement, and we can so we need to always give a name of the server. We need to put an email address from which or through which the emails will be sent from the database server, right? So these are some of the queries that we need to run. Additional instance. So let me just run them now. We had already run this one, so we don't have to do this part. Now I'll just try to get this sp_configure go to get this activated. Okay, wow, seriously. All right, please let me copy that. Okay, Control C. And going back, will it let me copy that? Okay, good. Sounds good. Database mail XPS. So at least it should be configuring. Or so if I don't run this now, where's that database mail? So let me just put it on magnifying glass. Okay, so database mail. If I just right click directly instead of running the statement, Configure database mail, send test email, view database mail log, reports and refresh. So configure database mail. If I just go for that, what does it say? Welcome database mail configuration wizard. Database mail is a SQL Server. Yeah, blah blah blah. What we just read. It's going to configure all those features if we want it to configure. So if I go next, set up database mail by performing the following tasks. Create a new email profile and specify its SMTP accounts. Specify profile security. Configure system parameters. Manage database mail accounts and profiles. So it's the first time we're doing that, so I'll just keep it to the first option. What I did was I just right clicked here and just went with the wizard. Next, the database mail feature is not available. Would you like to enable this feature? Oh, well, okay, yes. And then all the profile name, description. So this is what that SQL query had. That so profile name was there, SMTP account was there, and SMTP server. So if it's not gonna let me go further. So, and if I click add, it's going to know, it would want to know the outgoing mail server, and there you go, give your Exchange server information, right? So if I cancel out from here and cancel out from here as well, and try to select this F5. So configuration option database mail XPS changed from 1 to 1. It was already activated actually. Run the reconfigure statement to install. So now we can make changes in the database mail after doing that. But anyway, when I ran the wizard, wizard, yeah. So then it did ask me if you want to enable the feature, and I said yes. That's why it should be showing from 0 to 1. Instead, it's showing from 1 to 1, right? So it was already activated. So once this is done, sp_configure database mail. So you guys tried that? Okay. Yeah, that was not much. So now I'm just gonna put that other where it's supposed to just configure the whole thing for us. Okay, so we can change those settings here once we put it. So I'm just going to put the whole thing to the text editor. We already have a lot of stuff up there, but it's easier to copy paste in the end to a Word file to save all these queries. Till now, no error is coming, so it's going to accept that. So okay, you guys writing this? So you could just change this example to okay, let's be professionals here. So it's Kung Fu Panda, and okay, nobody's interested in that, right? Boring. SMTP dot Pixar. Hey, those guys should not sue me. All right. So looks like we're ready. So we can just select that and press F5, and commands completed successfully. So if the the syntax is perfect, that's what we were checking. Syntax is okay or not. Refresh database mail. So it is configured, but if we just view database mail log, it might. Oh, so everyone got this, right? Okay. Anyone writing it? No? Okay. So how do we check that it's done? in the logs, does it say anything? Load log from, oh yeah, we did not configure the logs. No. Okay, if we go for logs, so if I go for program file, SQL Server, and this was the instance MS SQL Server, I'm just going for the logs. Nope. Version 11, then setup bootstrap log, and it's 11:31. It's seriously 11:17. So this was yesterday. Oh, it's 18. Oh, there's no. So this is not the log. Okay, so we still need to look for it. So let me just cancel that and load that again, refresh. No. So we have to, I think I have to configure that reporting services and get it from there. So how do we, so I'm just going to try to configure that again, and then it should give me the manage as well. So if I go and just go for configuration wizard, now it says manage database mail accounts instead of configure. Next, create view. So if you go to view, there you go. Okay, so yeah, everything was added. I just wanted to see from the logs as well, but anyway, we're just going to configure that later. We haven't touched the logs yet. So everyone confirmed that the information is there for you. But if it says successfully, you're good. So let's go ahead a little more. We get to know the purpose of database. Mail. So installing additional instances, we did that already last class. SQL Server 2012 supports up to 50 instances of the database engine on a single host. 50 instances. So 50 different application teams can actually request if your server is very high end with memory and SSD drive and processing quad core. And up to 25 instances on a failover cluster. So if you have two physical servers where you have one instance that is being copied or maintained or highly available along with another SQL server, so 25 instances can be supported. We're going to try this failover clustering lab, and then we're going to see how it works. And of course, we're going to try to crash that first server and see if it really works. Instances are functionally separate deployments of SQL Server. Yeah, we discussed that already. On the same host computer and have separate program files. Okay. Applying a service pack or software update to one instance does not update other instances unless you specify that it do so. So if we are applying updates to one instance, service pack or CU, cumulative update, that would not apply to second instance unless we specify, which is very important. You could be updating one instance and not updating another instance. Maybe other instance has some problem, some issues, some corruption already. You don't want to update that. So you would just go for one instance just to be on the best practice. Okay, a user or group assigned to the SQL Server administrator or role for one instance might not have the role on any other instance. So yeah, we just discussed in the start of the class that you can assign permissions to one instance for one guy, one person, one DBA, and the other instance in the same host, that person might not have the permission to maintain. Instances can host more than just separate copies of the SQL Server database engine. You can deploy the following features. So these are the features we were seeing. Database engine services, of course, SQL Server replication. We can apply full text and semantic extractions, data quality services. These 5 were their analysis services and reporting services, right? For every instance. Okay, now to install an additional instance from the command line. We did not do that from the command line. We did it from the graphical interface. We did not do it from the command line. So this is it. You must have, you know what to change here? So instance name, you could put it anything after equals, and domain name. So I think we all have SQL domain.local as our domain. So instead of Contoso, it will be SQL domain, and instead of KMakers, it would be SQL admin. If you've created SQL admin, otherwise it's administrator, right? For the domain admin. Other than that, it should work. So let's try that. We can just put the same name as alternate for the new instance now. So if you've started writing that, so please start that. So once you're done, I'll just start that as well. It should initiate the installation of an instance, and fingers crossed, of course, because installation is one thing that you get surprises, and the book says, hey, it's gonna happen this way, it's gonna work, don't worry. That's the time we should worry, right? So the book is just sometimes just giving us the initial syntaxes, although all others worked, but this one with installation, command line installations, command prompt installations, I had serious problems, a lot of problems. So anything that we grabbed right from the book might not really work as we wanted. But it seems very simple. It's just if we get to understand this, that quite simple, which means setup.exe/qs would just take us to it should be zero touch installation if it's Q and S mentioned there, /action install features SQL engine /instance name, but we can just add the feature of other features as well, comma feature reporting services, comma analysis services, and instance name we can just put anything. After / there is a space here, then SQL sysadmin accounts equals Contoso. So this is where we put our credentials, and then space / I accept SQL Server license terms. See, so simple. I mean, like, if it works. But it's gonna work after. Make sure when you're doing that you have your machine connected to the internet, right? If your Internet Explorer is opening websites, it's gonna work. Right. Let me just start typing that too, or shall I use that luxury of copy paste? So I'm just gonna put it on magnifying glasses and go for the instance here. I'm just gonna copy here. So let me have a notepad first. Notepad. Are you? Anyone was typing this? Okay, let me put that back. Anyone still typing? Okay, cool. Yep, there's space. So after install, there is space /features equals SQL engine. We can just select SQL engine as well from graphical interface. We saw that if we just select SQL Engine, and in SharePoint class we did that, just selected SQL Engine and management, and that's all we went for in the shared features and instance level feature. Dude, it done? I can go away from that, right? Okay. So I'm just gonna go inside that and just launch it. You ready or done? You're writing, right? You done? Okay, sorry. So, anyone? Is it still going or? Okay, let me just show then. So, I'll just go to that. Okay, so it's there. Control A, Control C. Go to the command prompt. Desktop and CMD. Oh, I should have just done the Windows and X. And then command prompt admin. Yes. So I don't need this. Right click, paste. And there is a problemo because I did not go to D. So let me just go to D and check if I have a DVD-ROM and directory. Now I need to make sure. Sorry? Oh. So I need to make sure my DVD has the SQL Server mounted to it, right? So if I go to my virtual machine, right click and settings, and go to DVD, SQL Server, browse. Yep, that's the SQL Server. So yes, my DVD has the correct ISO file, and I'm in D drive, and it is setup.exe is there. So if I up arrow this again, so setup.exe/qs, now I'm just going to try and change those so I can put the instance name alternate. If okay, alternate is also okay, and go for my SQL domain and SQL admin is what I'm logged in from. I'll just make sure that if I'm logged in from this SQL admin, yes. And is it a SQL domain, local server, SQL domain? Okay, so I just need a prefix for that. So that's it. Here goes. You know what? Enter, and there you go. Okay, everyone got this? Seriously? You did it successfully? I mean, it's installed? Installing right now, right? Okay, what did you do which I did not do? Did you put that? The full domain? Well, actually, it's okay to put that too, but it should accept prefix and okay, SQL domain dot local. What else? What else you see different here? Maybe the SQL Server does not like the instance name alternate. No. What else? Everything is okay, right? Okay, sorry. Sorry? D. So if I press enter now, again, pow. What? What am I doing wrong here? So did you put a space between this guy here?
No, not after this last.
There was no space there, right? Did not put space here. So if I just press the delete once. Oh, it is. What else? It all seems the same, right? Exactly same. No, it's working for you and it's not working for me. So what did I do wrong here? Where? Here?
Going all the way to underscore the S and then backspace.
Here?
Yeah, backspace.
And is that it? Genius.
Pretty sure you're intaking that last
Well, I can make mistakes too. Come on. So no, that's good. Right. So spaces and it's still working. It's still done. Dude, it done. Or anyone else here from Planet Left? Hello. Hello. Testing 1 2 3. This is NYPD. Come on. Would you please look at them? Woo. Okay. Hey, the headphones are also on, right? So that's good also. Maybe you are listening to my previous videos and I could feel like some celebrity. But the current class, why aren't you replying to that? Previous videos? Okay, so while this is going on, what else? So there is, okay, if your boss tells that there's this server core here and that's just pure command prompt, you would want to you will be asked to install SQL Server. It's full SQL Server. So it's already just command prompt and maybe it's not up to date with Windows updates as well. But anyway, I'm just going there. But before that, we need to just check some of the other options. Deploying software updates and patch management. Software update deployment and patch management on a computer on which you have deployed a single instance is straightforward. So in our case, we have double instances. So anyone ever used WSUS? WSUS? No one? Ever heard of this? Okay, so Windows Server Update Services, and it's responsible for downloading all the updates for the whole, company, for all the computers, and your computers are not supposed to go directly and consume that precious bandwidth and go for installing their updates. So they just connect to the local server and get all their updates from there. So you can have a WSUS server installed. This is part of the NCSA certifications, right? 7410, 411, 412. Anyone did that? No. Anyone has a program to do that? 7410, 411, 412. In case you want to do those certifications, because you're gonna know when you're in the job market, when you're looking for a job, just let me know when you really learn it the hard way that, oh, I was supposed to do the certifications. Anyway, but if you do get the job, oh, that's good. But right now, what's working here, I can see that if you haven't done the certifications, only degree might not be enough. There will be those with degree and certifications, and there will be those with only degree, right? So there will be tough competition, and the company would obviously know that, hey, this guy certifications as well, this guy just degree. Okay, they would just go for the best, right? They need to pay him, her. So do your certifications. I'm just emphasizing that again and again. The market is tough. People are certified as well as done the degree. They have the degree, diplomas, and certifications. And certifications in MCSA, SQL, it's good to have it. But VMware, VCP, you must be that. Hey, is George Brown VMware Partner Academy? No. Is George Brown? No? Nobody knows that. If you are aiming to do VCP, then you would want to know that, right? So whenever you need certification help, let me know. I'll guide you properly. And before you leave this college, be certified, do some certifications, 3 or 4 certifications. And you can just pay $85 instead of $150. But this will be really proving good for your job. Otherwise, you'll learn it the hard way. I'm sorry to say that, but wherever else I teach, they take it seriously. That we need the job. They need to pay bills. All here, I'm among the rich people here, right? Money is coming from all sides. You don't need to do certifications, right? If you are interested, let me know. I'm here to help, right? Okay, so anyway, WSUS, Windows Server Update Services is there, and from which we can download the updates for SQL Server, right? Then deploying updates on a host computer on which you have multiple instances. So what happens, a simple way is you go to the website. I already have that open. So okay, there you go. So you just go to Microsoft website, Microsoft SQL Server, Service Pack 3, Service Pack 2, Service Pack 1, Cumulative Update 1, 2, 3, whichever. And you just go there, download that, and install it on that particular machine or set of machines which have SQL Server. Normally, we just go in production environment, we first test it. We have the exact replica of our production environment, so we test it. We check for after installation of Service Pack 3 or 2 or 1. We then wait for the event viewer to throw up some events. Okay, wrong words. To give some events. If there are any error events, we should not deploy this Service Pack to production unless we know why this error event emanated and is that error event related to our Service Pack installation or not. So that's the best practice. Do not download and blindly install in your production environment the whole thing without testing it in your test environment, because there are many horrible stories about that. If you don't test that, you learn it the hard way. Okay, so there are some precautions, some best practices by Microsoft. You must update all features associated with a SQL Server 2012 instance at the same time. If you're updating Service Pack 3, which is the latest one, I think our SQL Server is already Service Pack 3, right? That's the latest one we downloaded already. So if we even try to install that, it's not gonna work, of course. So for example, if you have deployed analysis services with the database engine in an instance, you must update both. So you must be on feature level. If one database instance has analysis services, try to update the second one as well, so the Service Pack would not have any issues when you're deploying it to all at the same time. Shared features such as management tools and integration services must be updated. Okay. If you have a deployment with 2 instances on the same host, that's our case. We have 2 instances on the same host, and you want to update only one of them. You must ensure that the update applies to the shared features as well. So we need to have a statement properly tested to do that. We cannot just double click and install that. When installing an instance, you can direct SQL Server to a folder containing update files, or have the installation process retrieve updates from the Microsoft update servers. So SQL Server we just have to redirect that. It is also possible to slipstream updates into SQL Server installation media. In our case, that's what we did. We installed the SQL Server with Service Pack 3. We didn't have to separately download that and update that. Prior to deploying updates, you should do the following. backup the master, MSDB, and model databases to ensure that you can roll back to a previous configuration if problems occur, right? So always, always, always backup. Backup runs in production environments every day. Full backup runs on weekends, and incremental backups run weekdays, right? So backup analysis services database, configuration file, and repository. So backup all those databases you have. Verify that system databases have sufficient free space if they're not configured for auto growth. So normally our databases are configured for auto growth. They automatically grow, and there's unlimited growth, like you don't fix that growth. Each system database should have 500 KB or more free space, seriously. Okay, so when we have 80 gigs of database, one file 80 gigs, so at least 500 KB, well, we should have some gigabyte of free space available. At least minimum this one should be available, right, for databases. We're going to be talking about the remaining space in the database that we need to maintain. So suppose a database is 80 GB and you want to know, what happens is that the actual data in the database is in fact 60 GB. So the database file itself is 80 GB. When you run some statements, some commands against that, you get to know that the actual data is not 80 GB, it's 60 GB. So the remaining space is just a waste. So you always do some maintenance on each of the databases. You get to know that inside it's not taking that much, it's not that much data, but it's just spread out, and that's why it's just expanded to this much size, grown to this much size. So you have to run some database utilities to delete that white space. That is called white space, right? So in Exchange Server especially, this is a regular 6-month maintenance, that after 6 months or 4 months we check databases and check how much is the white space, or the space that is just wasting our time. So what happens is that okay, so yeah, we were talking about yeah. So you can run the SP space used stored procedure on the master and MSDB databases to determine the amount of free space. That's exactly what I was talking about, and that's exactly I was taking a picture about. Was it taking a picture? I didn't say that. So, Jeffrey, this calls for another picture. Yeah. So I'll delete it. Don't worry. So. Okay, so stop services and applications that make connections to SQL Server. This is the most important when you're installing your service pack. Maybe there are some applications. Suppose you're in a bank, and the banking application is actually making transactions. It's making communication. It's saving data right now. Your service pack is installed, and it's going to restart your services or restart your actual server. At that time, way before that, disconnect all the connections. So email those people who are using that banking application that is making transactions, and you would know right away also by running some statements that queries that there are connections already available, or there are connections that have not been disconnected from the database yet. So if they are not disconnected, you cannot just go ahead, because you're going to forcefully disconnect those people who had no idea that there was a maintenance going on, there was a service pack being installed, and then they would call you because they may be our boss's good friend, or something like that. So you'll be in big trouble. Right? So what happens in production environment, we always email everyone that, okay, this database related to this banking application, and you 2,000 users please don't use that from this time to this time. We are asking for a downtime, or if it's compulsory, use the data. There would be a always on or a clustered second database that will be available. But still, although we know that the second database will be available for the users, we also just anticipating for any downtime or something wrong happens that we could not control. So we always ask for a downtime, although we can make another second database available for all 2000 users. Suppose there are 2000 users connecting. We always ask for a downtime, and if we know that it's going to be done in 1 hour, we always ask for 3 hours or 4 hours, right? In case something happens, we get to recover, and we have put those users away for at least 4 hours. If we are done, we'll just after 2 hours we'll say, okay, we're up and running and we're fine, right? But we always take 4 hours for 1 hour, or at least double the time we are actually going to need to download that. So some of the best practices in the production environment. The internal and default resource pools have the following functions. So you can assign physical resources to your SQL Server instance users. One SQL Server we just created for BES, or BlackBerry Enterprise Service. Suppose now you have 3 more branches open and they all have 500 users, so you have 1,500 users. This means that a BlackBerry database will have a lot of data coming in. So this means that the instance that the BlackBerry database was using would need more databases, so that instance might need more memory and more processing. So you can actually assign more memory and processing for a particular instance as you anticipate a lot of more connections. You saw that you were requested to create more databases now as more users have arrived, and you've been distributing those BlackBerry phones. That would be really sending and receiving lots of emails. So a lot of activity and data storage will occur. So you have to assign separate memory and processing, or that is called resource pools for the instances. You cannot alter the internal pool, and the resource consumption of the internal pool is not restricted. So there's internal pool, and we're going to go a bit further with that. Workloads in the internal pool are critical to server function. There is this terminology called workloads. Then there is internal pool, but the overall resource pool is assignment of hardware resources. Overall, I'm just giving it a brief one-liner. So hardware resources are assigned to instances. Yeah, that would be the briefest. Hardware resources assigned to specific instances. But how does it work? So let's just go a little further. There is that feature called resource governor. Mr. Governor? Okay. So resource governor enables the internal pool to pressure other pools even if it means violating the limits set for those pools. English, please. Okay, so where is the resource governor first? So if I go back to because the definitions, they look like, not even English. So many terminologies. So I'm just going to go back to my management studio, and do you see resource governor somewhere here? Oh, okay. Let me just put that. Okay, everything we're talking about is in the management of the instance. So we talked about already database mail, and now we are going for, and then we talked about distributed transaction coordinator. Now we're going for resource governor, which is down right now, so, or disabled. So we can right click and enable that, the governor, resource governor, right? And if you right click that after enabling it, then we go for new resource pool. So for this instance, or for specific components of this instance, we can assign CPU and memory resources. So first we enable the resource governor, then we go for new resource pool, and then the name of the resource pool is not set. Okay. So maybe it's the database or the best database, BAS DB. So we could put that name there, and what you see here is that minimum CPU is 0% and maximum there's already ranges assigned for this instance, and we can make those changes if we have already saw the performance of your instance in 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, or 1 month's time. We have checked all those performances, and then we can say that okay, at peak times we can change the CPU, minimum percent of CPU from the physical machine for this particular instance should be 10%. We can just type that we would need at peak hours at least 10% of CPU, when other instances are also a lot consuming that CPU. And also this is minimum, and we can just go for 100% CPU when it really requires in the peak time. We can just leave it like that. But if there are more instances that we are maintaining in the SQL Server, then we can also change the maximum CPU as well. So same goes for memory. That minimum memory we would require is, we can just change that as well. So I'm just changing that minimum memory I would require as well would be 10%. So this is a basic idea of how we can assign maximum and minimum memory and maximum and minimum CPU for resource pool. But it is a lot more than this, and we're going to be talking about the monitoring. When we are going for monitoring and auditing, then we're going to be coming back and trying to change more of these values and checking their results, how they are executing. For now, I just pressed OK after changing the putting it 10% for memory and CPU. Today's lab does not have a lot of hands-on, so this day 4 lab or screenshots would be much easy. Maybe you've just taken the screenshots even now for all the commands. If you've done that, you're smart. So this means you don't have to go and repeat that. And screenshots you could send by putting it in the Microsoft Word and emailing it to me. So in next class, of course, before next class, now I will try to put, in last class I said there will be a quiz. So this did not happen, but before the next class, I'll be sending a quiz. So be ready and try to put it. I'll just give you a deadline as well. It's an open book quiz anyway. So try to see those videos. Go through those videos, because it will be all coming from those videos, whatever we have learned and some of the commands. And also expect the assignment for creating this select statement, and how to create table, how to create columns, how to retrieve data. So there will be some set of commands that you should do, and I'll be expecting that screenshots for all the results of those commands. So that is it for today, or we can continue for next 1 hour more. Since nobody was listening on the left side, so yeah, that's why I'm going for the reaction. Yeah, there's so many of this thing. Come on, I'm just kidding. So okay, so let me just check what's left there. Resource governor. We went to Mr. Governor here, and we can put all the restrictions. So I was just giving you the basic idea, because we're going to be going in depth with the resource governor in our monitoring and auditing. So and then you will understand better. But I just wanted to cover anything else remaining here. Resource pools. There's a lot of data here that if I just start reading, what I did is what it's showing, but it's just going to, yeah, that's it. So we're going to be continuing from resource pools, worker loads, just to have some queries as well, and then we're gonna go for, this was the chapter 2. covered, right? If you're going for the book, this was the chapter 2. Chapter 1 was the long one where we were installing in different ways, zero-touch installation, and we did instance installation today. So I'm going to be sending you that quiz as well as that. So you get quiz in the Blackboard, or shall I just send you a Word document and
I think it would be better on
Blackboard?
It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have to get used to that. All right. So stopping the video now.